just America.
I mean, if that's a legitimate question, so go look at Mexican eggs. Ask yourself, where are they stored? They're stored on the store shelf. They're not refrigerated.
I heard, you know what? And I saw that too. Go ahead.
Same thing with milk. People don't realize. In most countries, milk's not refrigerated. Why is it not refrigerated?
It didn't used to be refrigerated here either. I don't think. Because you know how they used to put milk outside the front door and stuff. And
right, yeah. So eggs have a membrane on them. Somebody in the chat will know the official name.
Yep.
That egg can come out of the chicken, can get rinsed off, can get thrown in a container.
The country, they allowed China, they allowed Mexico, they allowed Canada, they allowed the EU, they allowed the UK, they allowed Russia, they allowed China. Did I say China? See, they allowed all of them to fleece the United States of America. And woo, Jason Zelensky came out and said
he lost half the money.
He lost half the money. Look, you need to bring him up on charges because nobody loses over $70 billion. Nobody.
I love that clip.
All right, it is okay. Good. It is Tuesday, February 11th. Welcome to the show. My name is Wayne Dupree. You are watching or listening to the Wayne Dupree podcast. Let me introduce Jason Robinson from Minnesota.
Folks, happy Tuesday. Sorry we were off yesterday. We had stuff going on, but what a full crowd today. We already got K-Gun Girl, Carol Davis, Dragon Love, Kev's here, Markowitz. We got Phil and Terry over on Facebook. It's spectacular.
Broadcasting on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitch, X, Twitter, Cloud Hub, Spreely, Rumble, and Cozy. We run the gambit. We are part of the Red Voice Media Network. So check out rvmnews.com. And also we broadcast on Lindell Speech. So don't forget to check them out too. You can go to Lindell Speech, or check out Vocal, which is their social media platform. You can check them out too. But we broadcast Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, Thursday. Yeah, I was had to do some veteran stuff yesterday, and what's crazy is you get there early enough, you get a nice parking spot. Okay.
Yesterday, that's really early though, Wayne.
Yeah. Well, yesterday I thought I was doing a good job. I thought I was doing a good job. Got there early. Oh, man, I see all the parking spots already taken. I was like, man, these people must have stayed here over the weekend, man. I mean, what in the heck?
That's why on Black Friday.
Oh my God. I mean, how do all these parking, and because the parking spots are underneath the hospital, the parking spots are yay big. They're not huge. They're little like this. One woman she was trying to get her car in there, and it wasn't going in there. I mean, she backed up in there, but she wouldn't get out of the car because there was no space on either side. So, to make a short story short, my first pass, she was halfway in. And I was like, I'm going on ahead to find me a parking spot. She's halfway in. And she spent like 4 or 5 minutes getting to that point. But okay, so her car is halfway out into the driving lane right here. Okay. Everybody's going past her. You're like, we ain't waiting for you. The reason why I say my first pass, because I hit the wrong exit, whatnot, so I had to come back around. And there she is again. This time she's pulled all the way out. She's in the main, and she's trying to back in. She was already backed in, y'all. She was already backed in. Somehow she pulled out and was trying to drive in there front ways. I don't know how she did it. Front ways. But then she was trying to go backwards in there. I was like, this is ridiculous. So, you know, I had to give her one of those Dupree stairs when I passed her.
Like, you ain't gonna fit, lady.
I had to give her one of those stairs, man. My children know that stair from years of seeing stupid drivers on the road. It's like, I cannot.
They're really
I'm
doing
looking
that.
at her. I'm like, what in the hell are you thinking? What's wrong with you? You know, and especially the ones that speed past you, like they have to go to the bathroom or something, and then when you get to the light, they're right there.
Right.
You know, and some, you know, you shake your head, you stupid idiot. You stupid idiot.
I gotta say that's one advantage doing what I do for a living now. And my wife works from home. Yesterday we had to drive a couple hours to be moral support with my sister. She had a court thing she was dealing with. And man, I had to drive in rush hour across the Twin Cities, like an hour south of Twin Cities. I'm like, I am glad I don't drive much anymore because people are idiots.
Real idiots.
But I got to say, we had a court thing in Minnesota, and it was a domestic type situation, my sister and her ex. And I got to say, it worked out really well. My sister like came out, you know, in great shape. It was a very positive thing. But I almost felt bad for the guy because you could just feel how unweighted the court system was against the guy. And I know I had to deal with that a little bit like 20 years ago when I got divorced and I was battling for custody of my kids. It's like everything was very balanced against the men in the situation. And in this one, like the verdict was good, worked out really good for our family, but I almost felt bad for the guy because it's like he stood no chance. That was just looking for an excuse, man.
Yeah, man, it's nuts. All right, so here we are. A lot. There's a lot going on. A lot. A lot going on. So I honestly, I don't even know. I don't even know no more. I'm thinking about. I don't even know where to move. I don't know. I don't know anymore. I don't know. I don't know. Seriously, I don't know what's going on. For real.
In the news or just in general?
Yeah, just in general, man. I mean, just give me a plot on the side of a mountain, give me some Wi-Fi, and I'll be fine. I don't need this stuff, man. I'm serious.
I gotta say, it's funny because Sunday afternoon, with the Super Bowl and stuff, you know, wasn't really following politics, and I was tied up most of the day yesterday. And then last night, when I get caught up on stuff, I'm like, there is so much insanity happening. Like, I can't, you know, like in the chat, they're talking about Blagojevich got pardoned. I'm like, I saw a blurb about that. I mean, he's talking about running for, I think, mayor of Chicago. Trump every day, he drops like 5 more executive orders. You got, you know, the lady from one of the agencies that put illegals in hotels after Trump said not to. They all got fired. Judges are fired. Court cases are going on. There is just like Donald Trump has done an excellent job of hitting the ground running. Like this is what that looks like. I've never seen this much stuff, big stuff happen politically in like a 3-week span in my life. It is crazy. And then there's even things like he's gonna get rid of the penny. Like, I mean, just think about how that changes American life. It's crazy.
Yeah, they've been talking about that for years, and
right.
As a matter of fact, nobody even talks about a penny anymore. So right. I mean,
yeah, it costs us 2 cents to make a penny. Why do we make pennies? Just get rid of it, you know. But oh my gosh. Yeah, I love it though. There's so much positive stuff happening. Looks like Tulsi's going to get confirmed here in the next couple days. So that'll be good. Pete Hegseth, he's hit the ground running. Renames Fort Bragg. I know it's more of a ceremonial thing, but God love him for doing that. And then there was video of Hegseth actually running with soldiers and doing PT with them. And then they had an interview. They're like, what are you doing running with soldiers? And he's like, what better way to know what the servicemen and women are going through than actually do a little training with them, shoot the breeze. You know, is my message getting down to you guys? I'm like, man, that is the kind of leadership we need in government and in the military. I'm so happy.
Let me see. The I just wait a minute. Hold on. I just saw some news come across the desk. Wait a minute. Oh, Steve Bannon pleads guilty. Steve Bannon is pleading guilty right now. Two things on Steve Bannon. Steve Bannon pleads guilty to defrauding donors over border wall construction. The guilty plea was made under a deal in which Alvin Bragg agreed to recommend Bannon avoid jail or prison time as long as he meets the agreement conditions, which include a 3-year prohibition on fundraising for any charitable organizations with assets in New York State. If Bannon doesn't satisfy the conditions, he could face a state prison sentence ranging from just over 1 year to 4 years in prison, according to the plea deal. So that Brian, I forgot his name, Brian Colfage, and another one got, I think it was 3 years. I think it was 3 years.
Yeah.
And let's see. Bannon's defense: we are pleased to put this matter behind Mr. Bannon so he can focus on other work. So that is Bannon's defense. Second thing is Bannon wants to debate Elon at CPAC.
Interesting. I hadn't seen that. What does he want to debate him on?
Well, he doesn't trust him. And he wants to put everything out on the table at CPAC. So I was reading that last night. What do you think about that?
Well, I guess two things. First, to talk about that Bannon court case. That thing is ridiculous because, and he's gone through federal level, state level on this. It's all over the Build the Wall. There was a dude that started a Build the Wall foundation where you could donate money and it would go to Build the Wall. And they were going to give the money to the government, but then you couldn't do that. So then they started hiring contractors and building sections of wall. And like nobody that donated to this has come out and said, oh, I was defrauded. Like they gave money to a group trying to get the wall built. People were okay with it. But, you know, it's kind of like the New York cases where there was victimless crimes when Trump like inflated the price of his apartment or whatnot. So it's kind of nonsense. So I'm glad that's behind him. The Elon thing is going to be one of the most fascinating story arcs of Trump's second term, because I think a big part of Trump's populist voice getting out and his messaging getting out is on Twitter X. Whether it's Elon or his surrogates getting message out on Twitter, it's killing a lot of the negative messaging that's starting and coming out, that sort of thing. So I think it's pretty powerful. But I think, you know, everybody, like, who's going to be shocked if Elon turns out to be a bad guy? You know what I mean? He's an oligarch. Who knows? We hope he's on our side. He's doing things that appear to be on our side right now. But at the end of the day, he might come out and not be. So I think guys like Bannon that have been in the trenches for a while probably are right to be cautious of Elon. I'm cautiously optimistic, and I'm just going to judge him by what he does. So far, he's done pretty good. And I love what Doge is exposing. I love, you know, that. I mean, so many like media hoaxes have been stopped in their tracks just thanks to a free speech platform like Twitter. It's phenomenal. And Twitter's forced Meta to move, which I don't know if you're noticing that on Facebook, but like you can say a lot more on Facebook and you can get, you know, reaches there and it's not all the suppression. So yeah, I think it's going to be fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, I trusted Mark when Mark did the switch, because you don't do that publicly like that.
Right.
You know, and I mean, yeah, you just don't do that publicly just for a little piece of the pie. And the lawsuit, there's a lawsuit. Oh yeah. I think Facebook is going to pay Trump some money.
Yes.
But the lawsuit with Twitter was dropped. I read that last week too. So, you know, it all depends on, you know, like I said, I don't know. I just don't know anymore. I don't know anymore. Right and wrong is just it's just out of there for me.
Well, and I think what's tough with Bannon and with a lot of folks, and I have to even watch it myself. Like, we need to avoid friendly fire right now. Like, let's get through this first 100 days. Let's see where we're at. Let's trust the people that appear to be doing the right things and trust President Trump to take care of it if they don't. And if Donald Trump trusts Elon, like, I'll trust Elon until he shows we can. Just guys like Vivek, we had questions about. Vivek took care of himself. He just worked himself out. So, and I see the people Donald Trump's firing. Like, we gave Donald Trump 4 years. So let's let him cook and let's stop with the friendly fire. But I think Bannon and Elon overall will have very different worldviews. So I don't know if they'll ever be congruent. Like, Bannon thinks the CCP is evil, which we do too. But Elon does business with the CCP. He's in, Elon's into all the AI stuff, all the robots and transhumanism and all that stuff, which Bannon thinks is the Antichrist. So they will never be congruent with one another. But I hope they're able to work together and not, get bogged down in friendly fire.
Jay says we need to stop with friendly fire, but that's who's firing shots. Because there are so many, like in 2016 to 2020, and then you even have some more that were supposed to be on our side that are responsible, or they're working a sabotage type of way. Yesterday, it didn't surprise me, but I'm glad that he went along with that. You remember on this show, I keep saying, I think Marco Rubio is moving toward a presidential role thing in 2028.
Yeah.
The question was asked about J.D. Vance to Donald Trump. And Donald Trump did not come out in support of J.D. Vance in 2028 already.
Nope.
That's already. That's already. I mean, and he is part of Trump's team. Well, actually, both are, and he didn't come out in for anybody, but usually in that regard, you kind of lean a little bit more toward the person that is with you. But he spoke on the plethora of people that are in MAGA, which I agree with. I do. I agree with that. I don't think it just, I mean, there's certain but that's who I am. I mean, honestly, he could. I don't see him doing it, but he could come out in support of Ron DeSantis in 2028. I'm not saying he's going to do it, y'all. I'm not.
Well, it's funny. I have written down on our prediction sheet Marco Rubio in 2028. Wayne Dupree was the first adopter of that, and I don't think that's that audacious of a position to take. I mean, Rubio in 2016 had a decent shot until Trump just annihilated him. Rubio, for the most part, has been fairly loyal. I have questions. I'm not a huge Rubio fan.
I'm not either.
Yeah, but Secretary of State's a good spot for him.
It's a real good spot.
Yeah, but if you look, I mean, right now, I could see anybody from J.D. Vance. I could see Vivek trying to make another run. I don't think it would go anywhere after the H-1B visa things. Kristi Noem has suddenly been resuscitated after the dog thing. And even some more long shots like Byron Donalds. Like, I am really bullish on Byron Donalds' future. He's probably not ready yet. He's just been in the House. But, he could be one of those outside, like, long shot contenders. I really like the bench they're building, But, I don't know. And then you'll get the guys like Cruz or Tom Cotton or some, Rhino guys that'll show back up.
Tom Cotton. I'm glad you brought his name up. Tom Cotton. Isn't he the one that dresses? Whatever. Tom Cotton, about a couple hours ago, maybe even an hour ago, tweeted U.S. aid was a vanguard of the global left. That's why the media and Democrats are melting down over saving money that was being sent overseas by U.S. taxpayers. Dude.
Wait till they get to the Pentagon, Tom.
Dude. Now? You saying that now? You know how much of BS that sounds like? You've been in Congress for how many years? Senator Cotton, how many years have you been in Congress and you ain't never said a goddamn thing about USAID? Nothing. Now all of a sudden, I mean, and honestly, you probably Jason, this might be a distraction type of thing, because if they keep people on USAID, then other people, then they're looking at the bigger stuff that really, I mean, because USA, to be honest, USA is at the bottom of a whole lot of stuff. Because with these with these trillion, Lockheed Martin got $1 trillion. You know, and it's like, I mean, a lot more departments got a lot more, but he's coming out now and talking about the left and USA. It's like, dude, you've been in Congress for 3 terms. And you ain't never said nothing. You ain't even on record and talking about USA. I was getting ready to say PF Chang, because PF Chang's email just showed up just a while ago.
I was going to say, how do we get to PF Chang? Wayne wants lunch.
I was going to say PF Chang. You ain't saying nothing about PF Chang. No, you ain't saying nothing about USA. Nothing. And that's from the audience. That's what I said last week. Nobody's getting arrested. This stuff is, honestly, I really think that that this stuff is being given to us to keep us angry. I really do. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't be angry, but I think this stuff is being given to us to keep us angry, to keep us focused on something while other stuff is being talked about or other stuff is being done. I did a poll a couple of weeks ago. Do you trust the government, even though Donald Trump is in there right now? But do you trust the government in whole? People still say no.
No.
People are still saying no. I don't trust the government. And if you really wanted to fix something, if you really wanted to get my stamp of approval, expose the deep state. Who's in charge of allowing USAID to do this? Who's in charge? Who got? I posted earlier. Who's in charge of it? Who's responsible for all the waste, fraud, and abuse? And then who's responsible for minimizing Congress's oversight in the fraud, waste, and abuse? Because they have an oversight committee called Fraud, Waste, and Abuse, but that's been dormant for about 40, 50 years. So somebody's in charge of this mess. Bring them out in front of, well, actually, if they're still alive, bring them out in front of Congress and let's start asking them questions. Why did you do that? Why did you do that? The only thing that we're getting is numbers, and we're getting, and a lot of people getting pissed off. And they're just putting out numbers every day. Numbers. Well, who allowed this? Whose name was on the thing to be responsible for this? A friend of mine from Hollywood, somebody had kind of mentioned it, and one of the responses below was like, nobody's getting purple. Nobody's getting the iron bracelet. The only thing that we're hearing is, it's only been two weeks, 3 weeks. Oh, no. Somebody's name is on those papers. Somebody signed off on that stuff. All that stuff isn't in the computer, just in there. There's some, because the government does go through chain of custody type of stuff. Expose deep state. You want to make it rain Christmas lights, expose the deep state. Who is responsible for doing this? Who is responsible for doing that? And then expose what they did. Because all this is doing to the base is and nothing is coming of it. There's no accountability. It's just numbers to make people angry.
Well, I think so what you're proposing is Trump sends the military in to just start arresting people?
No.
Or what would you?
You said, well, not you, but everybody's talking about Doge and how they're supposed to be uncovering certain things. Trump has basically given them autonomy. Expose the deep state.
Okay.
Put these people in front of the DC court. Well, actually Congress, and then drag them off to the DC courts right after, because these people are responsible for allowing this to happen. Tom Cotton, I'm not saying he's part of the deep state, but somebody's yanking his chain to be quiet all these years. Or somebody's putting, well, I ain't gonna go to court over saying somebody's putting money in his pocket or anything like that. But I said last week, Republicans are mighty quiet.
See, here's my take on it. I mean, before, like, Trump's 4-year term needs to be judged year 2, 3, 4, to see what the end results of some of these things are. He doesn't even have his cabinet nominated. In my opinion, he has exceeded my. Huh?
It's funny you said that he doesn't have his cabinet, because he's doing stuff without his cabinet. So he really doesn't need his cabinet right now.
Right. But no, what I was saying is the amount of things President Trump has initiated and started in his first 3 weeks. What are we? Is it 3 weeks? Is this week 3 or is this week 4? Like, has been more than I've seen a Republican president do in my lifetime. So I am not going to do like, oh, we need more. Like we will be pushing all year for that. But I think what you're going to see in USAID is this entire Democrat leftist ecosystem that none of this bucket of stuff creates anything. Government money flows into it, goes to the NGOs who hire friends, Democrat voters, donors, that kind of thing, creates this entire ecosystem that, says, oh, we're feeding the homeless in Uganda. But really, it's just a money laundering operation to go to different Democrat organizations. Those people all give political kickbacks to the Democrats. I think many people will be fired at USAID and the government agencies that participated in it. And I don't think there's one head of the deep state. I think it is multiple people that all kind of participate in this gigantic leftist money laundering operation. I think as that continues to get exposed, Donald Trump's, they're trying to fire a bunch of USAID people, fire a bunch of government workers, clean them all out of there. We just need to get rid of the bureaucracy. I mean, they even renamed the building and did things like that. So until you just get rid of that entire bureaucracy, it's just going to be a problem. I think the next place that they've called their shot is Social Security. And I think this will be an interesting one from a media perspective, because from their preliminary stuff they've seen, it sounds like they think there's a bunch of fraud in Social Security.
We've said that for years.
Curious what that looks like. And I think the final spot that they'll travel into is the military industrial complex, the 3-letter agencies, all those sorts of things. And I think when they get there, it's going to be, then stuff's going to get really real. And I don't think Trump's starting there, because he knows he needs guys like Tom Cotton to try to back his agenda and get stuff going. But I think before his term's over, he'll get over there.
But it's really not.
But
it's really not Donald Trump right now. It's Elon Musk. It's not Donald Trump. Donald Trump isn't doing it.
Elon's doing what Trump tells him, I think.
Well, no, I don't know. I mean, I think Elon is doing it, and Donald Trump is like, okay, well, yeah, it's a great idea. Which is nothing wrong with that. But
I bet the conversation,
if you want to go back to the condensing of the year, I don't see nothing wrong with what you just said in doing it by year, because that's what past presidents have done. Year. Donald Trump didn't do that in 2016. Donald Trump tried to merge 8 years into 4 years. Because as a businessman, you want to come in under what you promised. Okay.
Right.
So everything that he's doing right now is a mush of everything to get it all out there in the front because he knows, or he probably figures he has limited time.
Yeah. Every day he starts
2 years at
with
best. 2 years at best because of the midterms. You said 2, but we agreed it's 2 years right now based on what the midterms might go. Because if Democrats take over the midterms, then all bets are off, and then the last year and a half is just impeachment talk and impeachment stuff. So he can't do anything. So everything he's doing right now is building up, and doing as much as he can get done, whether it's 100 days or 160 days or 200 days. He's trying to get everything out there, but he's also given Pete Hegseth the orders on what to do, but he's not telling him how to do it.
Right.
Okay. He's given I don't think he's given Elon orders, but he is saying, okay, that sounds good. Keep on doing that. I've seen business people do that because in the military or in business, sometimes and many times, the leader, as long as there's not a problem and you show the ingenuity to get the job done, and it doesn't come back and hurt the leader's fine. Yeah, okay, great idea. Great job. You came up with that idea. Super. Donald Trump is like that. You come up with the idea, it works, it looks good on him, great job. If it comes back on him and it doesn't look good, you're fired, you're gone. So with those years that you were talking about, I agree because of old presidents, but Donald Trump is different. So he's trying to get a whole lot done, not just year 1, year 2, year 3. This dude is trying to get 4 years, 8 years into the first 2 years right now.
But what I'm saying is Donald Trump is picking the targets he wants Elon or Hegseth or whomever to go after first to gain public support for his agenda. Like Tom Homan, they've been crystal clear. We're going after the criminal illegals. And there's been a few issues, but for the most part, the American people see Tom Homan going after criminals, and everybody's like, yeah, we need to get rid of the criminals. If he started going after the taco truck guy, that wouldn't, you would have negative public support. For Donald Trump, he's going after these international aid organizations or having Elon go after them. And 2 reasons for that. One, every American, knowing your personal financial situation and the government's financial situation, is going to say, why are we spending money on X? Why are we having Sesame Street in Iraq? Why are we doing transgender stuff in other places? Even Democrat voters, that resonates with. And the second thing is that a lot of those organizations funnel money back to Democrat politicians. So it kind of hamstrings some of what they can do financially, because it's a brilliant model by Democrats. Create these Democrat organizations that could get government money. They funnel money back to the politicians, back to the campaigns, back to their friends and family. I mean, it's a brilliant business model. But by going after that, once you break through the Elon stealing my social security number is going to open a credit card in my name, and which a lot of Americans are like, yeah, Elon's not stealing your social security number. But once you get past that, you're like, well, what's the government spending money on? And I see even Democrat friends of mine online that are like, why is everybody complaining about Elon exposing all this bad spending? And so that will gain public trust in Trump, because, I mean, last time they really tried auditing the right-wing stuff, the military-industrial complex, was right before 9/11. If you remember, the day before, they failed that big audit for however many billions of dollars. So I think Trump's being strategic. I think he's doing things that are popular with the American people that need to get done. And I think some of the more controversial things he will start working in, kind of like, we were talking, the title of the show, we were talking about Palestine. He's taking a very controversial opinion there. Nobody on the MAGA side wants him messing around in the Middle East.
Well, no, that's not true. That's not true. A lot of people on the MAGA side want him to do exactly that.
Ugh.
Yeah. you read some of these things and they're like, yeah, he's right. Let's do it. Let's do it. Move them out. I'm like, wow. Okay. I mean, but then again, they're okay with it because of the support for Israel. I mean, that's the reason why they're for that. What I don't get is this, because when I was watching the interview, and if somebody in the chat can explain, somebody, adults are talking now. So if somebody could really explain this to me, I really appreciate it. Because I listened to him and he was like, yeah, we're going to move them out because, it's demolition. It's been demolished. It's not going to be fixed. For years, they don't have, we're going to move them and put them in a nice, better place. And the question is like, so when you fix it up, you're not going to move them back? No. I mean, the place is bad. The place is bad. It's going to be years and stuff before. I'll say, fine. Okay. That I understand. But then he turns around and is like, yeah, man, we're going to fix that thing up. And, everything's going to be done. It sounds like what he's saying is they're going to go in, they're going to level everything, make everything, and start building now to make it look great now. Okay. But but he won't let them back in because if they did that now, they don't want to put them back in the fixed up place. They were like, oh, it's going to take them years to fix that place up. If we move them back in there, it's going to take years. But you're saying that it's going. But what you want to do, you want to go in there and do it now. The timing didn't sound right to me when he said it. But
I think what he's trying to say, and I hope I'm wrong. Initially, when he came out with this plan, I thought it was
Lord,
bluster.
Juanita, good Lord, Jesus.
What?
Juanita, Jesus. Nothing. Never mind.
What I was gonna say is, I when it first came out, my gut feeling was this is Trump being blustery, trying to get the Middle East to solve.
I thought it was serious.
Problems.
Yeah, I thought it was serious.
Now that I see him talk about it, what he's realizing and trying to fix, and I hope he doesn't stick his toe in this water. The fact is, we will never see the people of Palestine, the Hamas sympathizers, living next to Israel peacefully. It's just never going to happen. Like those two, like Jerusalem, Israel, that land has been conquered and reconquered and unconquered for 2,000 plus years. And, it's been, the Jews had it and the Arabs have it. It's gone back and forth. And Hamas is like the worst of the worst, the most radical Islamist. That's why a lot of the countries won't take them. And so his solution of moving them to other countries and not putting them back in Gaza is a very interesting solution, like separating the two parties from one another. But if that ends up with American troops in the Middle East or us being responsible for a chunk of land, that, in my opinion, would be bad. So I like the concept he's going with. Like, these two are never going to get along. Let's find a way to separate them. But but if this is really the solution he's going for, it terrifies me because, and that's what I've talked about. And we've talked about it on some of the American Tribune on our Substack pieces. Like, Reagan was the most effective president in my lifetime. Reagan made a few really big blunders, like the citizenship stuff in California and things like that.
You keep talking about that citizenship and you keep forgetting to say he was lied to.
He was lied to.
Yeah,
he shouldn't have taken the deal.
To put that in there. You have to put that in there.
He shouldn't have taken the deal until the other deal was done, is what I'm saying.
That's fine. That's fine.
He was lied to. But I'm saying the fact he agreed to give all those people citizenship before the other deal was signed, huge misstep by Reagan. And it made California blue for the next 50 years, So I hope Trump doesn't do that. And if Trump puts an American presence in the Middle East, that will be one that we'll look back at and go, oof, that was a tough one, in my opinion.
It was fun. You said that you hope Trump doesn't do that. Going into the second year of his first term, he almost made DACA those elite, those citizens.
Right.
He was coming. And trying to push that deal, the spending deal and whatnot. He also made them citizens. He also made the DACA illegals citizens. He didn't do it though, but he also he almost did that. But yeah, with him saying we're gonna own it, we're gonna do that. I was like, oh man, okay. I mean, if that's where you're gonna go, if that's what you want to do, but it's a biblical area, man. It's a biblical area, and if you don't understand the biblical area, you just can't go in there and like Johnny come early and say, okay, we're just gonna put up high risers and different things and stuff. It's good Lord. I mean, do you expect to do that and the Palestinians not to go back to their land somehow?
I mean, that's what's funny is where America gets in trouble internationally is when we go try to put our 2 cents worth in other nations that we don't understand even their culture or what they have going on. I mean, Trump went weepy about DACA briefly. Right. That's a great take by Kev. But, if you look at the Middle East, no American will ever fully understand what's going on over there. And we're best to just keep our noses out of it because just their entire society is set up different than ours is. Now, I do like Trump's idea of separating the kids, like Hamas, who are the most radical of the Islamists. Having them right next to Israel is just recipe for disaster. Every 10, 15, 20 years, you're going to have what's going on over there now. So moving them, finding a way to get them out of there is probably not the worst thing. But yeah, I don't want us getting mired down in the Middle East.
The thing is, the other countries don't want them is because they are a warring people. They are a warring people. They, like Jason has said, they have been warring for centuries. That's all they know. Just like Israel, that's all they know. They fight over land, biblical land, holy land. And
I was going to say, like, Juanita asking about why do no other Arab countries want the people from Gaza? Let me give you a bad comparison. So let's say you have the Amish who live by their own laws, their own rules, like they're Caucasians, they're Christians or whatnot, but they run their society entirely different than the rest of the United States, right? They have their own things going on. That's kind of Hamas, only their things are, we hate Jews and we want to take back the Holy Land, and there is no greater thing than dying in pursuit of that ideal. So, I mean, they're religious zealots overall. Read the Hamas, like their political platform that they run on in the elections that they have over there. I mean, it's like, we're going to conquer the Zionists and take over the Holy Lands. So they are very, very radical, even for the Middle East. Like, that's even why folks like Iran are like, you guys are too crazy for us. We don't want you. So yeah, it's pretty fascinating.
Yeah. Let's see real quick. Let's see. Kristi Noem on Sunday was asked about whether FEMA should be destroyed, whether FEMA should be closed down permanently.
Yes.
And she said it should be closed down in its current form. Now, when I heard that, I was like, man, that's tippy-toeing like you never seen it before. When somebody asks that, or when somebody answers like that, they're not saying get rid of the whole thing. They're just saying get rid of how it is so that we can make it like we want. That's what she's saying. In its current form. Okay, so basically you want to keep it. You just want to change it. Well, just say that, But now President Trump is like, after that, now he's like, terminate it. Basically what she was saying on Sunday, that's what he's saying right now. Terminate it. Let the states manage disasters for big savings. That's what she said on Sunday. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think what you'll see is restructuring of a lot of these federal agencies where they'll go and fire a bunch of people, reduce headcount, eliminate duplicate agencies. You know, I, I every federal agency you can shut down, I'm in support of right now because there's going to be some that are trickier than others. But yeah, I mean, FEMA, they're giving out disaster relief based on political affiliation, and they're not very good at responding to it. I mean, how many times in our lifetime have you seen them just completely poop the bed when it comes to, helping in a disaster?
DOJ came down, told the prosecutors, don't prosecute Eric Adams out of New York. I don't agree with that because I think he's a crook. But I'm sure that comes down from the White House itself. FEMA just fired 4 employees that sent. Now, remember, Eric Adams opened up the migrant housing in New York.
Mm-hmm.
4 employees from FEMA were just fired over $59 million payment to New York City for migrant housing.
Yep.
You trying to tell me Eric Adams didn't know nothing about that? See, the thing is, you were talking about Blagojevich earlier. For some reason, I thought he was pardoned before Trump got out of office in 2016 or in 2020.
I think his sentence was, don't quote me on this, Kev will probably know, but I think his sentence was communed, and then now he's pardoned so that he can run for office. I believe so.
Okay, so instead of commute now, it's just pardon.
I believe so. I have to dig into that. I'll have an answer to
that. Because I remember I was like, wait a minute, didn't he get something I'm sure he got something before Trump ended because people were complaining about Kwame Kilpatrick getting out or commuted. Blagojevich, I'm sure it was Blagojevich, and I'm sure it was commuted.
Blago was commuted, yeah.
Okay. So he's commuted in 2020, pardoned in 2024. Do you think they're going to elect
he'll run.
Yeah,
What's that?
You think they're going to elect him?
I don't know. Like, I can't believe they elected the clown they have. I mean, why is it every mayor of Chicago has to look like a Batman villain, And it's...
Well, Blagojevich looks like the Penguin himself, so, I mean...
He might, yeah. There's just such a weird political realignment going on where guys like Blagojevich and even Adams, like Adams is a crook, but I think the reason he got pardoned is because like they went after him so much like Trump. Trump's probably like anybody who they see the DOJ go after in that manner, he's going to pardon him, I think. Like the guy almost got killed. And it was all these criminal cases and how much time and money did he spend going after? And I think anybody that the DOJ went after like that, I think Trump will step in. I wouldn't be shocked if he pardons Menendez, Gold Bar Bob, because part of how they keep all these folks in line is, threat of prosecution. Like, hey, we know you're doing this shady stuff. Like, we lure you in by doing the shady stuff, getting you money, and then we threaten to expose it and throw you in jail. That's how we keep you in line. And I think Trump's trying to kind of break up the connection of that. And I think that's kind of tied in with the intelligence agencies. So, but yeah, I mean, there's so much going on behind the scenes that we don't really know. It's like the Matt Gaetz thing. Someday it's going to be clear what happened with the Matt Gaetz thing, because that one is still an outlier for me. Like, that just doesn't make any sense.
I know that. I mean, when it happened, I feel just like the way you are right now. I felt like that when it happened. I'm like, God damn, man, this don't make no sense. And just to leave Congress now, because of a nomination, nobody does that.
And he was reelected to the House. Like, why not go serve? Like, and something's up.
And came out and did a thing. I will not seek the seat in the House for the next Congress. I'm joining Newsmax. What?
Yeah.
What? Okay. I mean,
Something about that's weird. Matt's too
whatever.
talented to just be an anchor on Newsmax.
Yeah. Patriot Victory says USAID is a CIA front,
It is.
and the CIA controls both parties in Congress. Every patriot, and see, that goes back to what I have said on this show many times, and thank you everybody for acknowledging it in DMs and whatnot. But everybody talks about the FBI. Rarely does anybody really talk about the CIA. And the CIA is responsible for a whole lot of behind the scenes stuff. The FBI is the enforcer. The CIA is the instigator. The CIA is the one that, you know, I mean, you don't want to mess with the CIA. The FBI is the one that pulls you over on the street, you know, and you fuss at them. I can't believe you doing it. You did blah, blah, blah. The CIA is the one that does the interrogation inside the room, you know, with the
Well, I think a
with
lot
that
of
one light over top.
I think a lot of the CIA stuff too happens overseas. Like the CIA
supposed
runs the
to.
cover. Yeah, I mean, but like a lot of their stuff, they overthrow regimes in other countries, and so
Right.
people who don't follow it, like they don't know the CIA ran a color revolution
Right.
against the pro-Russian leader of Ukraine like 10, 12 years ago, and then that's how we end up with Zelensky. That's how we end up with them talking about putting Ukraine in NATO. And congratulations, now we got a war. You know, how many times has the CIA overthrown countries from the Middle East to Africa? I mean,
that's the thing, though. That's the thing. That's what we were led to believe is that their operation is overseas, not here. But they are so good at what they do.
Oh, right.
They have been over here since the 60s, the late 50s. And especially when TV got part of everything, they have been part of the TV networks for decades.
Right.
You know.
Shout out to Kev. He did clarify too. Blago went from commutation to pardon to piss off Obama and Comey. And he wants to give Blago a job. We need to get like our official fact.
He was on The Apprentice too.
What's that?
Blago was on The Apprentice.
Yeah.
He was on The Apprentice. Hopefully that doesn't come back to bite Trump in the butt, because the last time he put somebody from The Apprentice in his cabinet.
Donald Trump made some really bad picks term one. Just saying.
Yeah. She got fired. They wouldn't let her back in. Or either she was in and they escorted her out. Either one. Big Balls. Let me ask you about Big Balls, man. Big Balls is now a senior advisor in the State Department. This 17, 18-year-old kid, whatever he is, 17, 18, 19-year-old kid. 19-year-old kid was fired from, as an intern, he was fired for giving up company secrets to a competing company. And he was let go. Now, he's only 19. I mean, has been working since he was 14 or something. So it had to be somewhere kind of new. So now he is accessing a whole lot of secrets and stuff with it. Now, I did tweet out that the old way, if the government found out that you did that, you would not be in the government. You would not be in the U.S. government, because people like that are ripe for espionage, or they're ripe for blackmail. Okay, so now he is top advisor to secretaries to the State Department. There's a whole lot of secrets, and I'm like, man, Russia and China, Russia and the CCP and all those countries, man, they are licking their chops. If they can offer this boy, this 19-year-old, enough money, he's gonna come out like a pimp. He's gonna come out like a pimp, and it's like it'll be too late then. I mean, you know. So I guess my thing is this: have you heard anything about this, and what are your thoughts on it?
Well, I gotta say, first off, the name Big Balls and like the clips going around of all the people on the news saying Big Balls is super funny. I find it entertaining. I think that what Elon has done with his Doge team is revolutionary, where he went out and got a bunch of autistic computer nerds and brought them in to hit the government systems. And these government systems are so antiquated that these guys can process data at just like astounding speeds with the tools they have available. And that's part of how they're able to expose the corruption, is that they just import all the data, crank through it, spit it back out, say, hey, this is where the money went. Whereas you get all these boomers in Congress who are like, we got to go through this way and that way and whatnot. So I think part of how Elon and Doge has been successful is they didn't know what these kids could do. Like, they're like, holy cow, these guys can just, and I saw somebody giving Elon grief online about like some system thing where they can't like verify social security numbers. And he's like, oh, Elon doesn't even know about this. And Elon's like, yeah, they don't use that. And I mean, if you know how antiquated the government computer systems are, like the fact people are like, oh no, Elon's hacking it, you'd laugh, because like our systems are not that secure and whatnot. So I think the selection, I think Big Balls will go down as a hero. I think what they're doing will be huge. As for the potential corruption, if we're going to say everybody with a connection to China, or, that's a bribery risk, is going to be removed from DC, 1,000% support it. Lindsey Graham can be the first to go. Mitch McConnell and his Chinese shipping company, Eric Swalwell and his Asian spy, Feinstein and her Asian, her driver who was a Chinese spy. I mean, if we're going to get rid of all these people that have had dubious things in their background, I 100% support it. But I think where conservatives have flaws.
But that's the thing. Most of them got it before, after they got into office. Right? It's like, because again, you can't get a secret even a secret clearance if you have something in your background that is legit to the point that another government can blackmail you for secrets and stuff. Now, granted, they don't go after everybody in Congress. You have to be part of a certain committee.
They don't go after. Oh, no, you don't think
for them to go after. Okay. Like
when
intelligence.
You say them, what do you mean them?
Say again?
When you say them, are you talking law enforcement doesn't go after them, or are you saying
no. Communist like type countries and whatnot. They don't blackmail everybody in Congress. They only go after individuals that they deem that they need. Okay.
What percentage of members of Congress would you estimate somebody's got dirt on that they leverage?
Well, let's talk about departments instead of certain percentage, because you would damn sure go after anybody in intelligence, the Pentagon, the White House, State Department, anybody on the Finance Committee. Wouldn't really worry too much about judicial, but you might have one or two just in case you need to get somebody off. You wouldn't do the whole judicial. You just need one or two to swing a vote or whatnot. But I don't think everybody is on the tape. I do believe that certain departments, more departments are hit more than, just like I don't believe all the governors in America, what the NFC told us. I don't think all the governors are on the tape. I do believe those of major states might be, or no. Maybe not even major states, maybe the smaller states, because you can get away with a whole lot of stuff for smaller states because the eyeball isn't too big. Like in Texas, I don't believe Abbott is on the tape, but do I believe maybe somebody in New Mexico or Arizona might be on the tape? Maybe, Idaho, Illinois is not that big, but do I think they're on? Yeah, I believe they're on the tape. Huge hub for Colombian drugs and stuff. Yeah, I do. So, yeah, I believe they strategically go after people that can benefit them. Which, and now, you want to talk about percentage? I would put the department in there before I talk about a percentage.
But what my point is, and I think Juanita has the right answer. Juanita's on fire.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
I think everybody in our political system right now has dirt. Somebody has dirt on them, whether it's an oil company, a pharmaceutical company, whether it's the Chinese, the Japanese, whatever. The only time they bust out the file and go after somebody is when they're being effective and they're pushing back against the machine, in my opinion. So somebody like Big Balls, his file ain't no worse than 2/3 of the people serving in Congress or their staffers or whatnot. But they want to throw Big Balls out so that we get rid of Big Balls because he's being effective. I think that's how they choose. Somebody steps out of line, they go after him. It's like,
that's why I said earlier, the potential.
Right.
If they get their hooks in him, he's gonna make out like a pimp. That's what I was saying. Because he's only 19, he hasn't even really cleaned his underwear too well. So, he hasn't really been out there to really do anything, So he doesn't have a list of a whole lot of things you can get, except for we knew that you do that. So, we've done our homework and we see that your mom has this amount of debt. We see this and whatnot.
Right.
Let's go ahead and take care of this. But you continue doing what you're doing. Alden, somebody, a couple of the people that have given over documents and stuff have been in the Pentagon and have been in the State Department for years.
Right.
Were before they got arrested. So it's all Falcon and the Snowman. If you ever get a chance to watch that,
it's a great movie.
Yep. Great movie. And it's a true story. And they got 2 kids out of college. And just like that.
See, and this is really kind of the playbook that the Swamp, the Uniparty, whatever you want to think of it as, uses. Somebody gets out of line. Somebody starts challenging them. They start breaking out the dirt on them. Like, everybody's got a dirt file. Every single person doing anything in DC's got their file with their dirt. And it's like, you step out of line, they start. It's what happened with Adams. Like, they've been sitting on that Adams stuff for years. Adams starts speaking out against immigration. Let's break out the dirt, And I think that's why Trump's going to pardon him and just move on. It's like, we need to break that up because that's how they control the people in DC. Very few go up there clean. Very few stay clean when they get there.
Yeah. Okay. We're getting ready to go. We want to thank everybody for tuning in. Tomorrow is Hump Day, Wednesday. So make sure you are checking in. Don't forget to check out the DupreeReport.com. And also stay away from American news programs. I don't know how much I can take. Just stay away from it. Watch overseas type stuff so you can find out what's really going on. Because there's a whole lot of bias stuff going on in our media, not only our legacy media, but our regular media. You want to find out what's really going on. Look outside. Go outside the United States and look inside. Go outside the United States and look from the outside in so you can get a clear picture about what's going on in this house. That's what I'm saying. Jeez. I think in my mind, I was like, do y'all understand? Have y'all ever went on YouTube and visited other countries? I did it. Well, I do it a lot, but for Christmas, I went to Sweden. I went to Norway. I went to Switzerland. I went to Italy. And how they did the live walking on the streets and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
It's beautiful. To see Christmas in other countries like that, and you're walking on the street or you're watching kids do the skating on the ice and stuff. So beautiful. Right? So, but then sometimes I do go to certain cities over here, New York, Los Angeles, and stuff, and watch that. But okay. Juanita says she loves watching Russia on YouTube. I need to check that out. But watch out, Juanita. Watch out.
You might like Russia, and then you'll be labeled.
You know what? Somebody on Instagram was like, I love Russia. He was like, I love Russia. And he was explaining why. He was like, it's clean. They you don't have a whole lot of this, whole lot of that. And I was like, wow, that's a whole lot of propaganda thing right there. But if he really believes that based on this, Tucker Carlson even said that he was shocked at how great Russia looked when he went over there. So there you go.
I think take the Russian government out. I think the average Russian citizen has a ton in common with the average MAGA citizen. They just want to practice their faith. They just want to feed their family. They just want to, live a normal life. So, yeah, it's pretty crazy.
What is this? Jason, President Trump signs executive order pausing enforcement of U.S. law banning foreign bribes.
I've got to look at that. I saw that this morning, and I've got to read the executive order to see what he's doing, because I think they're cutting out some investigative agencies, because one of the tactics they're trying to do is start leveraging these agencies to go after Trump and start lawsuits to slow down what he's doing. So I think it was an agency that they shut down that also investigates part of the foreign bribe stuff. So they're trying to spin it like, oh, he wants to take foreign bribes now, when instead he's just trying to cut the knees out from under these agencies that are going to go after him. Like, how many lawsuits have been filed already? Like 200. Like, the bad actors are going to do anything they can to slow him down.
Is that what was happening with Eric Adams?
What do you mean? Foreign bribes?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So is that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, well, maybe that has something to do with that.
Yeah, I got to look into it. Like I say, I was unplugged from the news most of the day yesterday. So
what are you doing?
You doing? To know what's going on. But I think some of that, like the machine, which is our corrupt government, is going to mobilize all its pieces to go after President Trump and his team and all that. So at some point, he's got to disable their combat effectiveness so that they can't just bog him down and tie him up doing stuff. That's why he's, anybody who's stepping on a line, he's just firing them, and then they'll sue him and say you can't fire him. Yeah, it's going to be spectacular.
Go.
Oh, yeah, there Kev goes. Watch Trump talking while signing. He explains that you call a foreigner to make a deal, you immediately have the FBI, CIA investigating. That would make sense.
Well, no. That's a checks and balance thing, though, isn't it?
I'll have to look into it before I can speak intelligently about it.
Yeah, I mean, because Ugh. Yeah, I mean that sounds common sense. Well, I don't know whether you want the CIA or FBI looking in on it. Maybe you might want somebody else, because CIA and FBI, most people. Well,
for somebody who wants 70, I've been saying all along I want 70% of the federal government removed. Like, every single thing he removes, somebody's going to be like, oh, we can't remove that. It's like when they go to cut the budget. We can't cut that. We can't cut the other. We can't cut that. I want 70% of the federal government shut down. I don't care what they cut, as long as they keep accountability, checks, and as long as they bring back checks and balances, as long as they force, because that's what nobody's really talking about too, but as long as they force checks and balances again and bring back accountability, I don't care how much they cut. I really don't. This country runs better, or is supposed to be running better, with checks and balances and accountability. You remove those things, and it's willy-nilly all day long. Anybody can do whatever you want to do. So that's what I want to remove that, unless you're fall in line politically.
I said, if that's what I want to see,
right?
Because it's already gone. Yeah. That's the problem, is that it's gone. They need to bring it back, because that's why we got to where we are right now, because there haven't been any checks and balances anymore. So, yeah. All right, go.
Final thoughts, folks. I hope you're enjoying the golden age as much as I am. Nothing made me just chuckle more than President Trump flying over the Gulf of America, signing the executive order. And I know that's not the most significant thing, but just tell a story why that's important. When I was down in Rochester, Minnesota yesterday, which is a very blue network, we stopped at a great barbecue place, John Hardy's Barbecue. If you're ever in Rochester, Minnesota, go there. And I was joking with the server, and we said somehow we brought up politics and racism with the Super Bowl or whatnot. And I'm like, yeah, Trump's back. He's doing some fun things. And he looks at me and he goes, Gulf of America. And he's like, I don't follow politics, but I love that. And I mean, those are the type people that you're going to connect with some of this stuff. So I love it. And I hope you love it too. And we can't wait to talk about it tomorrow with you. Wayne doesn't like Gulf of America?
Huh?
You don't like Gulf of America?
Listen, Jason, I ain't playing that game. Listen, Trump just said we're not going to have to buy. We're going to have Gaza. We don't have to buy. There's nothing to buy. We will have Gaza.
I hope Trump is.
That's bad.